Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger, and today we're going to be taking a look at two gaming monitors that could be very good deals come this holiday season. Or if you're just looking for your first gaming monitor and want to know a bit more and maybe a good place to start, these two could be right up your alley. So to kind of start things off, the first thing I really want to do is kind of go over what I think is appropriate for a gaming monitor and what you should probably be looking into, or at least kind of fill you in on what you may or may not want to look at if you are in the market. So for one thing, let's just dive into it. 4K gaming monitors look amazing, but they lack some common features and usually cost a bit of money. And along with the extra increased cost and the missing features, you usually need a pretty badass system to really get the most out of a monitor like that. In some ways. In other ways, you may not, but then that's where the missing features come into play. So for one, 4K gaming monitor. Fantastically pretty, great resolution, 4K. Who doesn't want something that's a higher resolution? It just always looks nicer. But it's a lot harder to power with your machine. So if you're not running a 1080 Ti or a Titan or a 2080 or 2080 Ti or something that can generally play a AAA title at a high fidelity like Ultra, it can be really hard to hit a really high frame rate. And obviously, the bare minimum you want to hit is 60. And if one of those cards is in your machine and you can push 60, that's fantastic. But most 4K gaming monitors, they don't really have refresh rates higher than 60, so you're really not getting any added value. And if you can afford one of the gaming monitors that does push past 60, I mean, you probably already own it and you're probably bleeding money, so this video probably doesn't really apply to you. But it's just really expensive. You need a very expensive computer. Linus Tech Tips actually just made a video about this. I'll actually link down below. It's a great video to kind of see what it takes to actually power something like that, and then actually what you're getting out of it, and is it really worth it? So I personally don't think it is, unless, once again, you're bleeding money, which this does not really apply to you. But I think the two next spots that are really good values are actually represented right here. So for one, let's just talk about this monitor over here. This is a 27-inch Acer. It's 144 refresh, which is very good. So 144, very doable with most graphics cards, kind of just depending on what game you're playing, and the video card itself. We'll talk about that more in just a second. It is also a 2K resolution monitor, which, you know, 2K, so 2560 by 1440, so we get a bump up above 1080p, but we're not at the fidelity of 4K, but there's actually not a lot of people see really past, I'm not gonna say they don't see past 2K resolution, but 2K is a really, really good stepping point up from 1080p without getting into really demanding on your video card and your whole PC going up to 4K. So it's kind of the sweet spot in the middle, and it doesn't take crazy hardware to game pretty successfully at 2K. So 144 hertz, 2K monitor. We got 27-inch. It is a flat screen. It has built-in speakers. They're kind of crap, to be honest. They're really just there in case you really had nothing to be plugged in, but they're not loud. They're not great. You're going to want headphones or a dedicated speaker kit of some type with this monitor. And it does have tilt functionality. It doesn't raise and lower, and it doesn't twist and turn. I mean, you could turn the monitor itself, and the whole bottom would turn with it. But you get general features that are pretty good, and it also has FreeSync. There is a G-Sync version of this monitor, but G-Sync just costs way too much. And honestly, as long as your video card can push 144, it's going to be really smooth, and you're probably not going to really have much tearing. I don't have any problems with that right now. I currently run this monitor as my main monitor. I actually have two of them. I run this, though, as my main monitor when I game, and I run it on a 1070. And I'm hitting 144 hertz in games that are well optimized and games that are not like insanely demanding. So any kind of crazy esports title, obviously we're way up at 144 hertz. Even in demanding games, let's just go with PUBG because I play PUBG a decent amount. Even with PUBG, I'm usually sitting at least at 100 FPS with a 1070. So not the world's greatest card, obviously a good card, but not like a 1080 Ti or anything above that, 2080 Ti. You know, you're going to be seeing solid frame rates, and you'll have room to grow in the future if you do get a better video card, but you still have a great monitor that you can keep pushing 144 hertz on, which is fantastic. So that's just a really good monitor. We'll talk about price in just one second. Now, right next to it is an MSI 24-inch MAG Optix gaming monitor. Now, this is a little bit different. Now, this also does have 144 hertz refresh rate, and that's kind of the big thing with gaming monitors. You want to have 144 hertz refresh rate. You want to push your FPS of your card so you get a higher frame rate, so you have a smoother, better experience, and just everything about that, honestly, is a million times better than 60 hertz. So 144 hertz, I think, is kind of the primo spot. There are monitors that push that. 240 is one. You can overclock some monitors too, so you can get above that point, but 144 is definitely a great place to start if you're looking for a good refresh rate of a monitor. It is only a 1080p monitor, so you don't really get the increase in the resolution, but it is a curved monitor, so you kind of get the appeal of the curve. It kind of immerses you a little bit more, and you just kind of have that different look with the monitor. Now, this one does adjust up and down and does swivel left and right, and also the back of it has LEDs that do light on it. So, you know, it's got a little bit more flare, it's got some adjustability and a few other features that, you know, maybe the nicer monitor doesn't have. I say nicer because it's a higher you know, resolution and it's a larger size, but nice will really come down to what you value. So if you're running maybe something like a 1060 or 1060 even 3 gig, or maybe an RX 580 or a new 590, this could be a really good place to come in too. Really hit an incredibly solid FPS rate and hit it with the actual refresh rate of the monitor. You would definitely probably pegged at 144 for most games. So you would definitely take the most kind of advantage out of the resolution being 1080p, but definitely hitting the refresh rate. So another really good monitor. I really like it. You get the curved experience as well too. So if you're into the curved and you don't want a flat screen, then that one is probably a little bit of a better offering. And so once again, I think what you should be looking for monitor is reflective of what your hardware is. So, you know, you're in the 1066 gig to 1070 to 1080, even 1080 Ti. This is a fantastic monitor. You're going to drive a lot of FPS through this thing at 2K resolution. This one, if you're maybe got a 570, 580, 590, 1066 gig, even, I mean, even a 1070 would be great. You'd definitely smash FPS with this. Or even something a little bit below that, then the 1080p 144 hertz option would be really, really good. Now, talking about prices and affordability and where these two kind of fall, I can quote a couple things. Right now, this monitor, it retails for roughly, now prices are going to be changing probably all the time because they always do on monitors. They go up and down. But this one retails for about $250, but I've seen it as low as about $215. And maybe we'll see some price drops with this monitor in the future come maybe Black Friday or maybe Cyber Monday or maybe just all month long through December before Christmas, and maybe even after that. Just look for sales on this thing. I'll link to it down below in the description. So you can get this for around $200. You're getting, you know, 24 inches, 1080p, you're getting the 144 hertz, and get some other just nice looks, nice functionality, and just a good gaming monitor if you want to come in at this level. Now, this monitor on the right, the Acer, the 27-inch 2K, costs right now about $400. A year ago, this monitor cost $500. So it's come down about $100 in a year, which as screen technologies get cheaper and as the manufacturing and other new products come out, this will continue to get a little bit cheaper. But I know for a fact you will most likely be able to find this monitor for under $300 come this holiday season. And the only reason why I feel slightly confident is that is last holiday season, this monitor took a huge price drop. I actually bought mine last holiday season, 2 of them, for under $250 each. So I got 2 of them for what the price of one of them was last year, which was a really, really good deal, which is one of the reasons why I picked this monitor up. And I've tested it, like I said, for almost a full year now, and I've loved every second of it. It's fantastic. In fact, it's almost a little big. If you don't want 27 inches, then maybe look for a smaller version or something not as big. That would be my only complaint. It's almost too big when I have 2 of them, but not too much of a big issue. Sit back a couple more inches and then everything else seems fine. But you might be able to find this thing on Newegg or maybe Amazon under $250, or maybe around that point, at least maybe under $300 when you start to see prices drop. And that, I believe, is an amazing value because, yes, there is a G-Sync version of this thing that costs about twice as much of it as it does normally, but you don't really need the G-Sync. I'm not saying you're paying for name. G-Sync does do something and it does work, but I've never experienced like really any kind of real tearing as long as you have the refresh rate to kind of go with it. So everything's been silky smooth when I've played on that monitor, and I can't recommend it enough. It is fantastic. I will say on one of them, I had one pixel turn red for a second on me. I literally just touched the screen lightly and it went away. So, but I do know Acer has a fantastic warranty and replacement program. They will get you taken care of. I had a friend who had actually the G-Sync version of this monitor. He did have a pixel go out. They replaced it, no questions asked. He sent it in, they sent him a new one, and you're good to go. So I know the Acer stuff is decent, and especially their warranties. MSI, I know for a fact actually that they are usually really good at replacing products too if you happen to have any issues. But just price to performance, you're getting some pretty good deals out of these two. You know, gaming monitors can cost a fortune. So if you can find one at a good deal, I mean, what's not to love about that? I'll link you both of these down below in the description. I'm also going to link just a couple of other gaming monitors as well that I do know about, that I have used, that I would also recommend if you're looking for something really above and beyond. I'll have a recommendation for that, and one a little bit lower end. If you're just looking for a decent monitor, maybe not full-fledged gaming monitor, but something that's maybe a little more affordable, but definitely a good quality monitor, I'll link you one of those as well so you're covered for this holiday season. I want to thank you guys for checking out this video. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Hit that like button if you could, subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll see all of you in future videos.